By the late 15th century, European commerce entered the age of oceans. Ships grew larger, voyages stretched longer, yet preservation technology barely changed. Wine, a strategic export of France, Spain, and Portugal, faced an invisible enemy: microorganisms and oxygen. Under fluctuating temperatures at sea, yeast and acetic acid bacteria continued working, converting ethanol into acetic acid. The result was sharp sourness and collapsing commercial value. Dutch merchants, famous for their cost optimization mindset, introduced a bold solution: distilling wine to increase ethanol concentration. At higher levels, ethanol denatures microbial proteins, inhibiting growth. Volume decreased, and taxes, often based on capacity, dropped as well. They did not intend to create a cultural icon. They were solving a logistical problem. Yet, as barrels of Brandywine burnt wine rested in shipholds for months, a silent chain of chemical reactions unfolded, and the world was never quite the same again. Before brandy was born at sea, whiskey had already emerged inland. In 15th–16th century Ireland and Scotland, cold climates and limited arable land made grape cultivation impractical. Grains, especially barley, became the primary energy source. But starch, the plant's glucose storage form, cannot ferment directly. Humans had to activate amylase enzymes through germination, breaking amylose chains into maltose and glucose. Distillation appeared in monasteries, influenced by alembic techniques from the Islamic world. The resulting ethanol was not merely for drinking, it was a way to preserve agricultural energy in a compact, stable form. During the harsh winters of the Highlands, this became a survival strategy. When the English government imposed spirit taxes in the 17th century, illicit whiskey production spread rapidly. Small stills hidden in remote valleys became symbols of economic resistance. Whiskey was therefore more than a product. It was an ecological response to scarcity shaped by politics and climate. While the Highlands optimized grain energy, Southern Europe optimized grape trade. Grapes contain glucose and fructose, simple sugars that ferment easily. Saccharomyces cerevisiae converts them into ethanol through glycolysis and anaerobic fermentation, a process less complex than starch conversion. But maritime trade created a paradox. The farther wine traveled, the greater the risk of spoilage. Dutch merchants of the 16th and 17th centuries distilled wine into brandewijn, reducing volume and increasing stability. Upon arrival, it was often diluted before sale. Yet not always. Some shipments left aging in oak barrels during long voyages changed in color and flavor. Oak contains lignin and tannins. When exposed to ethanol and oxygen, lignin breaks down into vanillin, introducing vanilla notes, while tannins add a subtle dryness to the palate. Temperature fluctuations at sea accelerated diffusion, speeding up the extraction of wood compounds. A transportation accident became an aesthetic standard. By the 18th century, the Cognac region began controlling the aging process, transforming chance into deliberate technique. Brandy was no longer just a logistical solution. It became a luxury commodity that shaped Atlantic trade networks. By the 20th century, distilled spirits had become national symbols. In 1964, the United States declared bourbon a distinctive product of America. Regulations required at least 51% corn in the mash bill and aging in newly charred oak barrels. Chemically, new barrels create a natural activated char layer that absorbs unwanted sulfur compounds and aldehydes. Thermal degradation of lignin produces vanillin and phenolic compounds that shape both color and aroma. Law effectively froze a technical choice into national identity. In France, Cognac became protected under strict geographical indications. Only spirits distilled from grapes grown in the Cognac region and aged according to regulation may bear the name. This is an economic mechanism designed to safeguard brand value and the local agricultural ecosystem. Whiskey and brandy, therefore, are not merely chemical products. They are legal frameworks, tax systems, and trade strategies. Whiskey flourished among working communities, miners, Farmers. Industrial laborers. Its high strength and robust structure reflect harsher environments. Brandy, especially cognac, became associated with European aristocracy and upper social classes. Fruity esters and a smoother structure suited salons and library rooms. As the British Empire expanded, whiskey traveled with migrants to North America. As France and the Netherlands built colonies, brandy became part of transatlantic exchange systems. Taste is not purely personal choice. It is shaped by climate, taxation, commerce, and migration. Two spirits, two different economic evolutionary paths. Yet together they shaped global trade routes for 5 centuries. Whiskey and brandy may look similar under warm light, both glowing amber, but one is the product of a resource-scarce highland landscape, where distilled starch energy ensured survival. The other emerged from oceanic commerce, where cost optimization created an entirely new category of product. Their success lies not only in flavor, but in their ability to adapt to the economic, legal, and political systems of each era. History is not drawn only by national borders. Sometimes, it is traced by shipping routes and by oak barrels quietly aging in the dark.